Okay, so you've been turned down for life insurance. Ugh, it feels like a punch to the gut, right? It's frustrating and it can leave you really worried about the future. But today, we're going to turn that frustration into an action plan.
You know the one I'm talking about. That letter shows up in the mail, or that email lands in your inbox, and it has words like declined, postponed, or maybe an offer with a price so high it might as well be a no.
And it's totally normal to feel like you've just hit a brick wall, like all the doors for protecting your family just slammed shut.
But I'm here to tell you something really important. That denial, it is not a permanent stop sign. Think of it more like a detour. And today, we're going to check out all the alternate routes.
All right, first things first. We have to tackle this big, scary word that gets thrown around, uninsurable. Let's just break down what that actually means because it's probably not what you think.
You hear uninsurable, and you think, that's it, game over. But that's not what it means at all. It's super specific. It just means that for this one particular policy, with that one company's rulebook, the answer was no. It's just one data point, not your final destiny.
So, why does this even happen? Well, usually it boils down to a handful of major medical conditions that make underwriters, well, a little nervous. Look, whether we're talking about a current cancer diagnosis, being on dialysis, or dealing with something like dementia, if you're facing one of these, you are definitely not alone. These are really common reasons for a standard policy denial. And just knowing that, that's the first step to finding a different way forward. Okay, so that brings us to the most important part of this whole thing, your roadmap, the path forward. Because a no from one place doesn't mean all the doors are closed. It just means we need to find the other ones.
So here's our game plan. We're going to focus on the options that are most accessible after a denial. Think guaranteed issue, group life. We even look at some creative strategies outside of typical insurance. We're not going to spend time on simplified or fully underwritten policies right now because, let's be honest, those are probably the kinds of policies that led to the denial in the first place, right?
All right, option 1, guaranteed issue whole life. The name says it all. Your approval is, well, guaranteed. No medical questions, no exams. It's the most direct route to getting coverage. Now, there is a catch. The coverage amounts are usually smaller, and there's something called graded benefits. Basically, this means that if you pass away from an illness in the first couple of years, your family gets back all the premiums you paid, usually with some interest, instead of the full payout. After that initial period, the full benefit is in place.
So who's this really for? It's a fantastic fit for someone with a serious health issue who just wants to make sure things like final expenses, a funeral, leftover medical bills, are taken care of. It's about locking in some peace of mind right now with zero fuss.
Okay, next up we have accidental death and dismemberment, or AD&D. And the key word, the only word that matters here, is accidental. This stuff is super affordable and easy to get. But, and this is a huge but, it only pays out if you die in an accident. It is absolutely not a replacement for life insurance that covers you for illnesses.
A really smart way to use this is as a temporary bridge. Let's say you're hoping your health will stabilize, and you can reapply for regular insurance down the road. An A&D policy can give you some high-limit, low-cost protection against accidents while you wait. It's a solid stopgap measure.
Now don't forget about this one, group life insurance. This is the stuff you get through your job, maybe a union, or some other association. And the absolute magic word here is open enrollment. During that window, you can often sign up for a guaranteed amount of coverage with zero health questions.
So listen up, this is key. If you got declined for a private policy, that open enrollment period at work is like your golden ticket. Why does it work? Simple. The insurance company is spreading its risk over a huge group of people, not just you, so they're way more willing to ignore individual health problems.
Okay, but what happens if none of those options are on the table? What if you really can't get a life insurance policy right now? Believe it or not, there is still another strategy. It just requires us to think about the money in a totally different way.
Let's talk about something called an annuity. Just think of it like a private savings contract you have with an insurance company. You put money in, it grows, and the biggest difference, as you can see right here, is there's no medical underwriting. None. You just name your beneficiary, and when you pass away, they get the money. Now, the growth is taxable to them, which is different from a life insurance payout, but it's a surefire way to pass on money without answering a single health question. Wow. Okay. We've covered a ton of ground, haven't we? We've busted the uninsurable myth. We've looked at a whole roadmap of different options. Now, let's boil all of this down into a simple, concrete action plan you can start using like today.
Here we go, your 3-step action plan. Step 1. Find out when your open enrollment is at work. Put it on your calendar right now. Step 2. Talk to an independent agent, not one tied to a single company. You want someone who can shop around because they know which carriers are a little more flexible with certain health conditions. And finally, step 3, and this is so important, start with what you can get. Don't wait for the perfect massive policy. Get a small guaranteed issue policy or an AD&D plan in place now. You get that immediate protection and you can always build on it from there.
So you see, a denial really isn't the end of the story. It's just the beginning of a smarter, more strategic search. It actually forces you to explore all the different tools out there to protect the people you love. Which really just leaves one final question. Which of these paths is the right one to secure the future you're dreaming of?